Do you feel that? Do you feel it? There's love in the air. Oh my goodness. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Or at least it's close to Valentine's Day. Love is in the air, and there's nothing I love more than the Lord of the Rings. But listen, everyone and their grandmother has done a Lord of the Rings character tier list. We're going to make things interesting. We're going to rank the Lord of the Rings characters in the movies, not the books. And we're going to do it based on how romantic they are. Not all of them are romantic. I'm going to include bromantic. So if they're good with their bros in a loving way, we will consider that romantic for this list. We are including anything from The Hobbit. So if there's characters in the Lord of the Rings movies and their stories were added on in The Hobbit, we will count that information into this ranking. I have read the books. I love the books. We're not including the books. That would just be too complicated. We're just talking about the Peter Jackson movies, not the Amazon show, not the movies from the 70s where it was a cartoon, not your fan fiction. We're talking about the Peter Jackson movies, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and we'll add on the Hobbit trilogy. So speaking of the Hobbit trilogy, we are starting with a Mr. Radagast the Brown. Now look at this guy. Do you want this guy to be your date? Can you imagine seeing this at the table across from you? Could you imagine if you had kids, your daughter going, "Hi, this is my boyfriend," and showing a picture of this guy? Listen, I love nature. I love it. I love animals. So does he. So there's a personal win with me. But I wouldn't trust this guy even with my pet dog, let alone my future daughter or myself as a partner. I wouldn't trust Radagast. So it goes all the way down to D on this list. So just imagine D is F. So Radagast definitely doesn't cut it whatsoever. We have this guy here, Tom Bombadil. He's not in the movies, so we're going to let him be. Right now here we have our man Aragorn. And he is the king. The king has returned. And the king has a queen. And that's Arwen. And he has such this romantic story about wanting to be with his elf lover. And it's romantic and great. And he's a romantic guy. And the thing about Aragorn is he's such a good, upstanding guy. He supports Frodo. He's there for Gimli and Legolas and his friends. And he fights for good. And it's wonderful. So this would be an easy S. However, my friends, things change. We have Éowyn in Two Towers and Return of the King, and he's sweet to her and cares for her, but let's be real. This guy is kind of baiting her. Éowyn gets blue-balled by this guy here when he's committed to Arwen. So that's not the behavior that belongs in S tier. He's wonderful. If this was a normal ranking, he would be up there. Top 3 characters easily. But he's going to go in A. Because he has a lot of great qualities. But that one other quality is not what I would want in a partner. Now speaking of partners, we're going to go to his partner, Arwen. And she's there for Aragorn the whole way through. And she's giving up her elf life, her immortality, her long life, to be with this mortal who does live longer than other humans on average, but will eventually die a mortal life, and she gives that up for him. Now, if that isn't the ultimate romance ever, I don't know what is. She's going in S tier. Aragorn would have been there right with her side by side, except for that whole thing with the other chick in the trilogy, and there's not a lot of chicks. Okay. Now we're going to get to the lead of the whole story. Frodo. I don't think he even looks at a woman besides the big tarantula Shelob. I don't think he even eyes a woman. But what he does eye is a man. Samwise Gamgee. And their bromance is probably the best bromance I've ever seen, ever. In anything. Ever. Even my own life. Frodo has a point where he doesn't trust Gollum because he's overtaken by the ring. But anyone loses their way, but he overcomes it. He overcomes it. And he is there for Sam. He supports Sam. He tries to defend Sam until the ring overtakes him. But he's great. He's great to Sam. I'll put him in S tier because it's one of the best bromances ever. Because he did falter a little bit, we're going to put him below Arwen. And that's that. Now, speaking of the ring, we have Gollum, or Smeagol, or whatever you want to call him. This guy, now imagine this guy as your girlfriend's date to the prom. Not your girlfriend, whoa. Imagine this guy as your daughter's date to the prom. Oh my god. He has that good Smeagol side, but it's overtaken by that evil Gollum. This guy doesn't shower, he doesn't bathe, he eats raw fish. That breath must be rank. And he only cares about himself. Well, he cares about the precious. It's this romance with the ring, which is sweet until you realize the ring is an inanimate object. So he is sweet. He's sweet to the ring. So I'll put him above Radagast, but not by much. Now, speaking of someone obsessed with the ring, you got Isildur, the guy who first had the ring even before Gollum. And he chooses the ring. He could have cast it in the fire, and he didn't. Oh my god, we wouldn't have Lord of the Rings without him. So he's easy S tier. No. He must have had a kid. I mean, Aragorn's his heir. He saved the day, which is heroic, but he only cared about the ring. So he's going to go in very low C territory because he's got some game. He's the hero of the day, but overall he was greedy and overtaken by the ring. It's a very low C. All right, guys. Next, Samwise Gamgee. As I said, most bromantic thing ever seen in fiction with Sam and Frodo. But Sam never, ever faltered. Ever. He was always there for Frodo, even when he was cast out. When he cried for Frodo, you felt his tears. He risked his life on so many occasions. He overcame evil, overwhelming evil. For a human, it would be crazy. For a hobbit who's smaller, I can't imagine, but he did that. He carried Frodo up Mount Doom. He did everything. He sacrificed everything. And not only that, not only is he bromantic, but he's romantic. There's the character Rose or Rosie, the hobbit, and he's nervous at first, but once he becomes the hero of the day, he gains his courage and marries her and has beautiful children. This is the easiest S rating I can give. He's above Frodo, no faults, and he's above Arwen because he has levels of romance and bromance. So this is their easy S, and just spoilers, nothing's going above Samwise. Absolutely nothing. The most romantic / bromantic character in Lord of the Rings. Now, speaking of bros, we have my boy here, Boromir. And he is great to the little hobbits. He is wonderful. He ultimately sacrifices himself and dies a hero, which is great. Two problems. Number one, we've never seen him on a date, but he would be a pretty good date. He's a hero, he's well groomed, but he has toxic traits. Out of anyone in the Fellowship, he's the one overtaken first by the ring and does some things that spook Frodo a bit. Imagine if your partner was like that, where you don't know if you're getting the nice Boromir or the nasty Boromir. That's scary. Now, unlike Isildur, who dies a loser, Boromir dies a hero. He's going to go above Isildur, but he has some toxic traits that I can't overlook, so he's going to go in C tier. Speaking of toxic, we got Saruman. He's the white wizard. That means he should be better than all of us. But ultimately, he sides with evil. He's not a good guy. You know, you go on like a profile, and this guy seems you see a guy who seems pure and good, or a girl, whatever you're into, and you go on the date with this person, and then you see all these evil, toxic traits. He takes down trees. If you don't have trees, you can't breathe. So what was he thinking? He's going to go in D tier. He's pure evil. He looks better than Radagast, so he goes above Radagast. Gollum's a little bit better just because he had that good side. So Saruman's right here. Now my man Denethor, the father of Boromir and Faramir. So he must have had some games somewhere in his life. He has not just one son, two sons. Okay, we'll give him that. But Jesus Christ, is he selfish? Does he only care about himself? And do you remember that scene in Lord of the Rings where Pippin is singing and he just eats his chicken and eats that tomato and crushes it? We see characters get decapitated. We see like goblin blood and stuff. But nothing is more horrible than watching this guy eat. Imagine you're on a date with this guy and he starts pigging out. It's disgusting. We don't like that. That's D. I don't know. I don't know where he is in D. He has some game, so he beats Radagast just because he had kids. But Saruman didn't have that awful eating sequence, so Denethor is right over here. Gimli. He mentions hairy woman, the hairy dwarves that he likes so much, but we've never seen him with a woman. But we have seen him with Legolas. And they have a wonderful, pure, awesome bromance. And at first, he's a little racist, which we don't like here on this channel. We don't like ever. But he overcomes it and gets a true friend with Legolas. And he's like, oh, make sure the elf doesn't see. Because he cares deep down. He does. It's a very pure bromance. And it's a great bromance. So we're going to put that in A tier. I'm going to put that in A. Then you have Billy Butcher from The Boys here. I'm doing... this is terrible. I'm doing this list, and I can't remember his name right now. I read the books, I've seen the movies a million times, and I can't remember his name. Carl Urban's character. This guy is one of the riders. He's very brave. He fights hard. He defends his cousin or his sister. I don't remember what he is to Eowyn, but they're relatives. And we don't see him be bromantic. We don't see him be romantic, but he has a lot of good traits. He does care. When he thinks Eowyn's dead or was injured in battle, he cries. We want an emotional man, someone who could let out their feelings. So while I can't put him super high because I don't know his bromance or his romance outside of this, he's going to go in B. He's well-groomed, good-looking guy, a lot of good qualities. Now you have, what's this guy, the Witch King? He has a big spiky ball he rolls around. He's on this big dragon thing, which is pretty cool, but he's a bad dude. And he's sexist. He's sexist towards Eowyn. He gets he loses to Eowyn because he couldn't take that a woman beat him in battle. And we don't like that at B-Man JJ2. We don't like it ever. He's sexist. He's at the very end. He has nothing going for him. He's not even a human. We don't know what's underneath. We don't know if this man can perform in the bedroom either. We don't know what he has. D tier. Lowest of the low. Nothing going for him. Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo, the hero of The Hobbit, and he was in Lord of the Rings. He does have toxic things, or when Frodo shows him the ring, he makes that really scary face. But he's a good guy with a good spirit. He goes against the conformity of the Shire to be his own person. And he has a bromance with... what's his name? That dwarf in The Hobbit? Thorin Oakenshield. He has a great bromance with him. and he does things for the greater good, and he's heroic. Um, he's not known for his bromance, but he's a great guy overall. I'm gonna put him in B, and we've seen how great his character is. Some toxic traits, but he's again overtaken by the ring, and he does give up that ring to Gandalf, even though it's really hard for him. And he looked after Bilbo, which is really sweet. Not Bilbo. He's Bilbo. He looked over Frodo, which is sweet. We're gonna put him above Carl Urban's character in B. Sauron, pure evil. This guy made a ring. He did it just for himself. He's the ultimate evil. He wants to cut down the trees. He corrupts. He's terrible. We don't want that in a part whatsoever. Now, my question is the Witch King worse, or is he worse? I feel like he's got more game. I feel like if I were to choose personally to be on a date between the two, I would choose Sauron. Just from vapid looks alone. So he's going to go above Witch King, but by just a little bit. Galadriel. She is said to be the most beautiful elf ever. Gimli fawned just over the hairs on her head. And not only that, she landed a guy. We don't know, I don't remember the guy's name, her husband. But she's got game. And she's sweet and loving. But that ring shows, she could be a bad person. But she is a great person. And she helps Frodo give him the gift and help the fellowship. And she's just gorgeous. She's beautiful. Imagine having this as your date. Man, oh man, would you be lucky? We haven't seen much of her romance. I'm going to put her just below Frodo in S tier. But, come on. What a classy gal. S tier. Easy S tier. King Theoden. Now, he must have some game. He did have a son who died, and he wept for his son. We like an emotional man. We haven't seen him with a lady, but he is such a good guy. But he got corrupted by Saruman. It happens. What can you do when that happens? But he proved himself, and he sacrificed himself in battle, and really cared about Eowyn and Carl Urban and everyone. So we don't know much about his relationship status. We're going to put him in B tier. We're going to put him above Carl Urban. And he'll sit between Bilbo and Carl Urban. Now you have Elrond, who definitely must have had someone, because he had Arwen. We don't know much about his game with the ladies. He is well groomed. He is an elf. He is a little bit overbearing with his daughter, but he does love her very much. So it's very sweet. Good guy. So he's an elf. He's going to go above Carl Urban. Not above Theoden, because Theoden is just a wonderful guy all around. Was this not the Witch King? How are these two people different? Are they different Nazgul? They look like the same. Well, I can't tell who's who. He has two swords, which is more awesome, but it could be more of a red flag. Imagine having two swords at a date coming out. So, you know what? He's going to go at the very end. Legolas. His bromance with Gimli is wonderful. In the Hobbit trilogy, though, he was overbearing to the other elf, the female elf. Was it Tariel? I think it was Tariel. And he just kind of sucked in the Hobbit. Still badass, but sucked. In Lord of the Rings, he is a bit racist towards the dwarves, but ends up having such a great bromance with Gimli. One of the best bromances ever. We're going to put him just below Gimli, just for those toxic traits in The Hobbit. But as we know, people can change in life, and you could become your better self. I know, I wasn't perfect. I messed up in my past relationships, as anyone does. And while I'm not perfect now, I know I have improved and seek improvement as I live my life, as Legolas does. He's an elf, so he's well groomed, maybe a bit more than Gimli, but again, we will keep those toxic traits in mind from The Hobbit. So he goes just below Gimli. Faramir, what a great guy. Well groomed, so overhated by his father, and he gets the girl in the end. He gets Eowyn. This guy has class. He's underrated. He gets the girl. He's going to go above these two. I mean, he's not as... No one beats Aragorn as, like... He's the ultimate man, I think, in these movies. And Galadriel's the ultimate woman. So he goes just below Aragorn and A. He does get the girl. Speaking of his girl, we have Eowyn. Now, Eowyn, I can't put her right next to her boy, because she was fawning over Aragorn before she even met Faramir. And she was sweet in her own way, but she was a little awkward. She ultimately gets the worst rejection I've ever seen. And I've been rejected by girls before, believe it or not. If you can believe a guy like me gets rejected by a girl. I mean, I'm in a serious relationship now. Things are great, but back in the day. She makes this terrible stew that Aragorn really doesn't like. So she's a little awkward, a little quirky, but I like me a quirky girl. I like a quirky girl. While she didn't get the guy initially, she does get the guy in the end. She's very pretty, she's beautiful, and importantly, she proves herself in Battlefield. She's independent, she does her own thing, she doesn't care what people say, and she proved herself, which is so heroic. So I'll put her in A tier. She does get that, but she has awkward moments. I don't know where she goes here. She's not going to beat Aragorn. She's gonna, she'll go side by side with Faramir. I take it back. But remember, just for those awkward moments and that rejection, she can't go above Faramir. Wormtongue. Grimace Wormtongue. Grimace is like the McDonald's character. Wormtongue. His name is Wormtongue. He looks like this. His actor is Chucky the Killer Doll. If you don't see a big red flag in your head right now, I don't know what you're seeing. You must be colorblind. He's so toxic. He's so disgusting. I don't know. Maybe it was some good in him before. I feel like Sauron has more game. He's just a slime ball, a scum of a human. Does the Witch King beat him? The Witch King has more class. Wormtongue. His name is Wormtongue. He's got to be at the very end. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. This is the truth. Now we get to the twins that aren't twins. We get Merry, who has a wonderful bromance with, I think it's his cousin, Pippin, and looks after him, and they get into a lot of mischief, but he looks after him and cares for him, and he's just a sweet guy all in all. And, while he's a little mischievous, he does have traits that I think would be great for a partner, especially by the end. And he proves himself in the battlefield and everything and becomes a hero. So, since he has a great bromance, and we've seen the bromance, we'll put him in A tier. This is gonna be controversial. Does he have a better bromance than Gimli and Legolas? It's not as iconic. He's gonna go just below, but very close, very close. Now we get his bromantic guy, Pippin. Now Pippin has puts himself in a lot of dire situations. He's a little dim-witted at times, but he does very much care for Merry, which is really sweet. He's going to go below Merry. I don't know where I'm going to put him. I'll put him in very high B, because he has a great relationship, but Merry always has to look after him. we're not going to do these two characters. They're from the books. We're going to end with Gandalf. Gandalf the White, Gandalf the Grey, whatever you want to call him. This is Gandalf. He's a literal demigod. I don't think we've seen him with the ladies, but he's such a good guy. He has a lot of charisma. He aura farms to the point where it becomes Gandalf the White. He's the good in all of us. He's great. He's great to the hobbits. But do you remember in The Hobbit, like in those movies, I think they tease some sort of like feelings he has for Galadriel, and it's really weird. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. So while Gandalf normally in the character rankings would be extremely high on my list, that was just so weird, and it went nowhere. We haven't seen him with a lady, but he's so great. He'll go above King Theoden. Does he go above Bilbo? No, because it was so weird in The Hobbit. Do you guys remember that? Am I making that up? Yeah. So that's my ranking of the top romantic characters or bromantic characters in The Lord of the Rings. Let me know if you have different opinions. You probably do, and that's okay. My normal ranking for best characters in Lord of the Rings would look nothing like this, except Samwise would be at the very top. But this was a lot of fun in the spirit of Valentine's Day. Just remember where you are relationship status, if you have one. If you don't, it doesn't matter. You deserve love. You deserve the best in life. Remember that. Be sure to... Sorry. Looks like I'm Frenching you guys on camera. Be sure to subscribe to this channel here for more fun tier lists and other stuff like that. We'll see you next time. Peace, love, sayonara, toodles. Ciao, ciao.